All right, how's it going, everybody? Caleb Wood Fitness here. We've got a nice little primal warm-up for you, kind of an animal flow. We're going to focus on decompressing the spine, starting to warm up your joints, and a little bit of mobility work and some strength work at the end here. So should get a nice little sweat going on, definitely get warmed up and either ready for your day or ready for your workout, or this can be done on as a great workout for a rest day as well. So you're gonna get on your knees and reach back and open up your toes. This is great to decompress the feet. We spend a lot of time on our feet and we need to take care of them a little bit more. So this is to do that. So you're gonna start with some circle wrists, one way and going another way, kind of just finding movement in the wrist to warm up your elbows, your wrist joints. You're gonna switch it up here. Try and keep a 90-degree angle in your wrist, in that forearm to palm region. And you could play around with rolling your head around a little bit. It feels kind of different. It's kind of like rubbing your belly and your head at the same time to create some new kind of neural pathways in the brain. Kind of an interesting. Always good to shake it out a little bit. Make some waves. We are water, so let's integrate this into our flow a little bit. Really good for all the knuckle joints and the shoulder, injury prevention. All right, nice little shake again. So touch your shoulders with your fingertips and make some big circles, really open up the chest, taking some nice deep inhales and exhales as you do this. And this video is really just to follow along and be explorative in your movements. And just see what feels good, see where your aches and pains might be, or if you don't have any, that's great as well. So on this one, I want you to really feel like you're being pulled by two strings with your left and your right arm. And you could act like you're holding on to a magic ball on the end of that as well, if you like. Kind of creates a different grip strength in the arms, and really starting to work the shoulder area, the scapula area, as well as a little bit of the neck area and forearms. Always good to shake it out. Take some nice deep exhales, really release any tension you're holding on to. All right, we're gonna get onto that tabletop area. We're gonna do some nice little, after tucking your toes, you wanna tap the floor a little bit, get some blood flow back to that region, really start to wake up those ankles and toes and feet. And now you just want to take some nice, easy hip circles. If this hurts your wrists too much, you can go up onto the tips of the fingers. That's an option. Or you can even bring your hands further away from your feet just to make that angle a little bit less harsh on the wrist. Always good to feel like you're gripping the ground. I like to say spider fingers, so your fingers should start to look like little spiders as you grip the ground. Get nice and deep into that child's pose, going back. Be really explorative with this. Full range of motion is what we're going for. I tend to feel it a lot in my outer hips, and I think that's because I'm sitting a lot, working on the computer or watching Netflix. You start to walk your hands around a little bit. Again, just finding new movements, new motions. Give it a little dog wag, a little shake. Sorry, we're gonna go into thoracic twists here. This is really good for posture correction. So really reach to the sky like you're touching the ceiling and really actively press the ground away from you. Try and keep the hips nice and square. You don't wanna move too much out of position, but if you can, it's fine. Just nice twists, inhale, exhale on the twist, and just find that new motion. All right, give it a little shake again. Now we're gonna move into our cat-cows. Nice big inhales on the cows. Exhale and push the floor actively away from you. On the exhale, really wanna focus on syncing your breath to movement here. This is really good for the opening up the spine, opening up the lungs and the rib cage. Also starting to turn on that full posterior chain, which is the entire backside of the body. Which, if we are living our sedentary lives, like a lot of us are, we tend to forget about and start to deactivate that area. So it's good to turn that on. All right, now I'm just incorporating a little lunge step. So you're gonna go back on that cat and cow, and on the cat, you're gonna reach up with one of your legs, start to lunge it out. And again, this is very explorative. Doesn't need to be a strict movement, just starting to move and flow and breathe. Allow that knee to fall out in that lunge. That's totally okay. Feels really good in the hips. All right, now in that lunge, we're gonna incorporate reach, another thoracic reach, another twist up to the sky. Take a big inhale. If it feels good, feel free to take your knee up off and go into a high lunge twist. Totally fun, totally fine. Play around with holding for a sec here. Take a couple breaths while you're holding it up in that high lunge. All right, we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna go over to a seated position. We're gonna wiggle out those legs a little bit. Start to All right, we're gonna go to a seated position and we're gonna start doing a little shin box flow. So you want your front shin to be parallel with your yoga mat. If you're not using a yoga mat, just make it parallel as you think it would be. And really find some new motions here, new movements, opening up the hips, opening up the glutes and the knee, and creating a lot more mobility here in the hips and knees. You definitely don't want to force anything here. So if it's very difficult, just take your time. That's totally fine. And I'm just kind of having fun with it, finding some nice new, areas to reach to. Now we're going to start to sit up on that front knee. Now, if this hurts, I definitely just keep doing the shin boxes. You're putting a little bit more pressure on the knee, but this is actually very good for the knee because you're compressing it, and you're also strengthening your hamstrings and your glutes as you press up. This might be something you've never tried before, or you could be really good at it, but start to try and take your hands away from the motion. So now I'm not using the floor to press off the ground, but now we're gonna start to incorporate a reach into that. So you're gonna squat up onto that knee, reach back. When you plant that hand back, you want your hands to be pointing away from your body. That'll put your shoulder into a good external rotation, a healthy position for your shoulder. You want to take a nice big inhale when you're on these reaches. Find a nice flow, inhale and exhale with your body. All right, let's get back to that seated position. Let's wiggle out those knees, wiggle out those legs a little bit. Always like to shake it off before the next set. So we're gonna start to warm up the spine a little bit here. Just rocking back and forth. You can hold on to the knees. You can keep your hands planted on the ground. You'll see me do both throughout the flow. Just wherever feels comfortable. And if you feel any pain, we want to go away from the pain here, where this isn't something to force. This is just to have a nice flow. So now we're going to rock up to a little combat stance is what it's called. You're going to walk up, tuck that back heel, either your left or your right, underneath, one or the other, and then use that other heel to plant on the ground and grip the ground and pull your whole body up. It's totally fine to use your hands to push to get a little more momentum. Totally fine. You'll see me do both. And allow that front knee to be pushed over the front toes. That's totally fine. Really good for full range of motion in the ankle, in the back of the Achilles tendon. Really want to start opening that up. And I don't have enough room here, but if you want, when you rock all the way back, you can actually allow your legs to kick back over into full plow, and that's totally fine. You're even just extending the back a little bit more, which is a nice little stretch, and then you can come back through into the combat stance. But if it feels good, definitely try and take your hands out of the equation and just use them to build some momentum rather than pushing off of the ground. It's kind of fun to play around with. All right, we are gonna take a little core intermission here. I love these. This is kind of a Muay Thai version of a core exercise. You really zip the ribs down and imagine your belly button going towards the floor. Keep that locked in. And then you're just gonna nice wiggle all the way around in a full circle and then back around the other side. Try and keep your legs at a 90-degree angle, and that's just gonna help keep solid structure and throughout the legs and into the core. Take a little break here. Keep those hips active and warm. This always feels good on my lower back. All right, now we're gonna really wake up the glutes and hamstrings and back area. Again, focusing on that posterior chain, really starting to activate the hamstrings, the calves, the low back. It's really important before you get into the bridge. You saw me grab my hips there and kind of twist them. You want to twist the front of your hips towards your face a little bit to get you out of a posterior tilt. So you don't want to be sinking into the back and compromising your lower back. So you want to have a nice straight line. Play around with lifting up a leg and pointing the toes, or pointing the toes to the sky. You straighten your arms on the ground like I'm doing here to activate the triceps and the back of the shoulders. And every time you go down, really scoop. You want to act like your hips are an ice cream scoop, scooping up ice cream towards your face. So you really want to actively recorrect that hip misalignment if it is there. Just playing around with it. Just kind of reaching up with the toes. Reach to the sky. All right, now we're gonna actively hold this one. All right, now we're gonna get into shoulder reaches. So you're reaching up above you in this bridge pose. If you notice, I'm reaching with my other hand to try and grab my ankle. You could try that out, see how it feels. Tuck the shoulder blades under and really roll over that shoulder that you're not reaching with. Reach nice and far with the other one. Should be feeling a nice burn. Let's finish up with some nice long holds for a couple seconds there. All right. We're gonna rock up into a squat, a low squat or malasana. And this is gonna be our finisher here. We're gonna start to really put a demand on the hips, mobility of the hips, and strength in the hamstrings, feet, quads. If this feels good, I urge you to really try and push that knee out over your toes. It's a very healthy movement. Don't be afraid of it. Just take it easy. If it hurts, definitely don't do it. Yeah, just explore lifting the heels up, driving the knees back, trying to really turn on the glutes here. I like to think of looking at my arches when I look back, or when I look at my feet. You kind of twist back and look at your arches. It's kind of fun here. So we're gonna get into this flow here. So you're gonna go from malasana to kind of a forward fold, but a little bit wider. You could exhale and just dump everything out, dump all your air out. Really find some comfort here and a nice stretch. Big inhale in the malasana squat. Exhale. All right, so now we're gonna incorporate a little flow. So you're gonna inhale on that malasana, exhale into the forward fold, inhale again, and then jump back on the exhale into that kind of modified downward dog. And when you jump back, really try and grip the ground with your hands and twist your shoulders, internally twist them so that your triceps are going down towards the ground. It's a good cue. Again, we're just having fun with this. If it's hard, it's always good to laugh it off and just play around. You could step back with one foot and then let the other follow, or whatever feels comfortable, but give yourself a little challenge here and break a little sweat. And now we are just gonna release into child's pose. So again, this is a great workout or warm up. So you could use this on your rest day, quick, 15 minutes, and just get some blood flowing. Feel free to stay here as long as you want, and you guys have a beautiful day.